Hi, John Rice, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, coming to you with an update for fall of 2020. As we head into the later parts of fall, November, December, even early parts of January, typically we see some norms during this time. However, this year has been such a year of great change that we're actually anticipating seeing steady activity through the winter. And why is that? Well, there's been a number of factors, and to go through them, I'm actually going to share my screen with you so you can follow along. All right, so as we look here on the screen, uh, one of the big factors that I think is just absolutely fascinating, recently an organization called Opportunity Insights actually looked into how consumer spending was being done per state. And Michigan has spending up a whopping 11% since the beginning of the year. Now, this isn't just housing. This is um, spending as a whole. So Michiganders are spending money. They're out there shopping. And real estate is no exception. Anticipation is that we will remain in a seller's market for much of our price ranges in West Michigan on through 2021. When you really look at supply and demand relationships, it's really honing in on there's a big lack of inventory. If a seller was comfortable in the last 6 to 9 months, they're not really looking to make a move. But if a buyer has become uncomfortable, they are now very motivated to make a move. So that has resulted in more demand and less supply. That said, there's a little bit of a change in certain areas, in certain price ranges as we get into the luxury market, where you might have yourself and maybe 12 or 13 other close neighbors within a half a mile or a mile, all looking to sell. Well, if you all have $1 million houses, there's only going to be so many buyers to go around. So it does kind of vary based on price range, based on area. But if you just look at West Michigan as a whole, it's a seller's market now, and it's anticipated to be that way because of demand. Another graph that I showed earlier in the year, back in March, we had to put some pause marks on some of this stuff. So like our pre-market, our for sale, our under contract phase, right now, all systems are go. And as a result, real estate, if something's listed, if it's priced well and it's in an area that is hot, where there's a lot of other buyers, then things are going to continue to go well. What that means for you as a buyer is that you're going to want to come into this really prepared, want to have that pre-approval letter in hand, and that's something that obviously we talk about right off the bat when we get you set up as a buyer to kind of understand the market and be prepared. As a seller, I'm having people really know where they're headed next. That has been a crucial piece in making sure that before we put a sign in the yard, before we tell anybody it's for sale, we need to make sure that we know where you're headed next, so you always have a roof over your head, and that it's the most comfortable, smoothest process it can be. Now, another part of the fuel of this whole thing has been the interest rates. This is a brief chart about where interest rates have been. As we can see, we saw kind of a 5 to 6 year spike back late 2018, early 2019, when interest rates were right around 5%. What we're seeing now is interest rates are around 3%, and they're predicted to stay that way for quite some time. Now, the only thing we can know for sure is what's going on today, right? So if you're in the mood to look for a new house, you'd like to find a new house, plan on what interest rates are today, at least for the foreseeable future, but there's no guarantees on this. We might hit March of next year and find out that interest rates have come up. So it's just something to consider. If you're looking at historical interest rates, this is a basis I always pull back to, especially if you haven't done this in a while, or if you're a first-time home buyer. National or historical interest rates on average would be a 6.38% from 1989 to 2019. If you were to take them all and average them together, 6.38%. Now, that's more than double what rates are today. Bottom line, money is inexpensive, and that is fueling people to get out there and say, hey, I can afford a new home. I'm going to go buy a new home. Another reason that people are fueled to get out there is because of the whole work at home scenario. It started 8 months ago. And for many institutions and organizations, it's either going to become permanent or at least something that's going to be around for a while. Upwork, an organization, just recently did a study and stated that 14 to 23 million Americans are planning to move as a result of remote work. Now, to put that into perspective, that's 2 to 4 times as many people as moved last year. 2 to 4 times as many. Now, that's a lot of people that are looking to make a shift. Some local, some across the country. And West Michigan's no exception. What I've personally noticed, what we've noticed as an industry is we've got people coming in from all sorts of different areas. They're coming to West Michigan saying, hey, our real estate rates are in line. Our housing per square foot dollar, when you consider, compare us to New York, compare us to Massachusetts, compare us to Washington State or Oregon or California. Our rates here are very friendly for people, the price per square foot. So you get a lot of house for the money. They like that. If they're coming from another larger metropolis area, our tax rates are also very favorable in most of our areas. So that has been a motivator. And then think about, West Michigan as a whole. We've got a lot of enjoyable outdoor things that people can take part in. I think if nothing else, people have realized the power of being close to something that they enjoy. Walking trails, parks, the lake, something, maybe living on the lake. That has been a big motivator for people. And as a result, we're seeing people that, maybe right now they've enjoyed their home, but they say, gosh, if I can find a similar home, but maybe have 5 or 6 acres, enough for a garden, or maybe be on a lake so I could take the boat out when I'm done working from home, those kinds of things. Those are big motivators for people right now. And it's fueling people to say, all right, let's go find that place and then let's put ours up for sale. So that's the kind of conversations we've been having with people. They've been going very well. And for a lot of buyers and sellers, it's a lot of making sure that we're on the same page, that we understand what's going to be happening as we move forward. And for sellers, making sure that we understand, what does that roof look like over your head, right now? And what's the next one going to look like, to make sure that we've got it in place before we go stick a sign in the yard. We want to make sure that this transition is the smoothest, best process you've ever been through. So that's an update of what's going on in the marketplace right now. And what we're finding is that a lot of people are reaching out, and welcome you to do this as well. Reach out via phone or email or text, and we could set up a time to have a virtual interaction like this, or an in-person interaction where we're going to be able to go through your current home. What kind of changes need to be made before we put the home on the market? And also talk very honestly, candidly about, what does the next house look like? What does that market look like? What are you going to be up against as far as competition? And what are the best next steps to take to make sure that you're successful in your goals? Absolutely love what I do. I'm looking forward to being able to help you as well, you, your friends and family. So make it a wonderful fall. We'll talk to you soon.